name is Barbara Murray Millington. I live in Kelso. I am 84 years old, or 84 years and 7 months. And I met my husband in 1961 in Parramatta at a dance. And because we used to have a lot of dancing those days, and we got married the same year in July 61. And we were married right up till his passing 11 years ago. Yeah, my husband was already in the military, and I met him as a Parramatta, a 50-50 dance it was, and there in February, March, and we got married that same year in July. And our best man was his mate from the army, Sid Bonnie, very nice gentleman, and we used to go dancing every week and loved it. Everywhere you had dancing, you go to Liverpool or Auburn, not so much Auburn, but Liverpool and Parramatta had the best hot dances. And that was in the movies. That was basically what we did. Didn't do much else. Didn't have a car, so we used to have to get the train from, I was up at, what was the, I can't think where he was based. Anyhow, we used to get the train in and then back again. And the time he got home was always really late. I'd never stopped him. I'd seen him every weekend, and sometimes during the week he'd come down. But the funny was that time Mum said to me, "Who's that Tom, Dick and Harry that's always appearing?" Because he didn't like wearing his glasses those days. And then I said to him, "You've got to wear your glasses, you know." And because she'd seen him without glasses first off, and then after, I said, "He's not Tom, Dick or Harry, that's Ernie." "No, he doesn't have glasses." That's the only thing that happened, that's all. Ernie, it was just like a hometown. And Auburn was a small town those days. And mainly my friends come in, some of his service mate too, but it was mainly people I knew. And it was just an ordinary wedding. And I had 2 bridesmaids and a flower girl. My brother was a groomsman, and Sid Bonnie, as I said, was the best man. My grandfather gave me away because my father and mother weren't talking at the time, so he wasn't allowed to come, but he did at the reception. His son, Ernie, invited him. He said, "No, come, don't worry about it, come." So he come in his, that's that photo you got in there, and he's in from work. But no, it was just an ordinary wedding. I didn't know army life till then, and our first house we rented ourselves, a few, and then he got I don't know how he got it. It was in Signals, and he got a house posting at Bringelly, and by then we had a daughter, Kathleen, and then when we were there, there in '64, our second child was born. That was Sharon. And then it's just military, and there was military houses there. There was only about 5 or 6, and everyone knew each other, and it was good. The kids there played together. It was great. My kids weren't old enough for school then, but the ones that were, there was a bus that took them to school and brought them back because it was all military, no civilians. And then we posted to Holsworthy. That was a good camp too. That was a really big one. And that was all fairly new then. Nice house there. And my daughter, one of the girls, started school there and in Holsworthy school. And that was military school again. I don't think it was civilians, I don't know. And then I had another boy. I had the first boy, Brian. And then after him, I had Ernie. And Ernie Junior and Ernie Senior went to Vietnam when he was he was 11 months old, I think it was. And we did have a funny thing happen. We went I got invited with a girlfriend to go and see the Don Lane show because we used to watch it because he used to talk to different service people and the wives and that and send messages. And she was hoping to get on, but she didn't get on. I did. I was lucky one got on. And they asked me, anything to send messages to your husband? And I told them that Ernie was in Vietnam. And they said, any message? Oh, I want to tell him that Ernie Jr. is now climbing all over me. And of course, he made a joke out of it this evening. So they said, even though it was black and white, they could see it was bright red. And of course, you went on those things, you got little gifts, sort of little toasters or tiny little things, because I suppose they had to pay you. Otherwise, we got gifts. But it was really exciting. And everyone in Vietnam seen it but my husband. He missed it. I never seen it. When he got to where he was based, he had to be somewhere else because he worked in the office and he used to go different places. And when he got to the other spot, everyone said, oh, did you see your missus? No. He never ever seen it. We didn't have everything in the paper like they do today. It'd only be bits and pieces. The worst part for us, I thought, was knowing they weren't getting the mail because the unions wouldn't let mail go through, and supplies and things, they would cause the trouble. And of course, Vietnam wasn't a popular, I don't know, it was a war, but it wasn't a war type thing. And people weren't nice, normal civilians weren't nice to you, but you didn't mix with the civilians, only the ones you knew. And you had no worries other than that. And when Ernie came back on R&R, I didn't know he'd arranged with my mum to look after the children, because I went and met him at the airport, actually. And I had lost a lot of weight then, and I'd blonde my hair because I told him I was going blonde. And I met him at the airport, and first he didn't recognise me, and he said, where is she? Where is she? And I said, I'm here. Oh, and anyhow, we went and stayed at the Hilton Hotel. He booked in there because I had no luggage, not expecting to go there. And behind the reception, they said, which name? And he said, Mr. and Mrs. Millington. And he went, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And my husband said, say that again and you'll have a black eye, mate. Don't. And after that, we got better service. And they said there was entertainment and all that, but we never left the room. We stayed in the room. Only stayed the one night. Then we drove home, got a car and drove home to the children so they could see the father. It was great. Then we took them on picnics and went there. My mother and everyone else, and they'd come along on the picnics. But when Ernie came back, they would sort of come back quietly, different ones, different times and different places, but we all celebrate like anything mad. But then a couple of years after he came back, they did the welcome home for the Vietnam, and he said, I'm not going, because the ones before had come home and marched the regiment, not like Ernie's wasn't the regiment, it was different postings, different. The other ones who went to come back, they had paint thrown at them and everything else, and it was terrible. And when my husband was leaving for Vietnam, they were supposed to not the public to know where they were going, but there was this group of women that did, and they ran up screaming and calling them murderers, and it was not very nice. But I didn't know that till later because he didn't tell me, he didn't want to upset me. But that's why it was all very quiet when they were leaving. And when he came back, different ones, there wasn't a lot of service ones come back. And of course, when they left, they had to wear civilian shirts. They had the army, not the pants they wear today, but khaki pants. And they had civilian shirts on because going across, they went into Darwin, and I'm not sure exactly where after that, but they had to put their army shirt on when they got to Vietnam because it just was different agreements in different places and that type of thing. I can't tell you much more what happened over there. But he did tell me when he first got in country, his friends picked him up in their Jeep, and one of them was flying out that afternoon, so he had all his bits and pieces, souvenirs, and he said to my husband, now, you keep sitting in the Jeep and watch the things. And he said, yeah, no worries. So he's sitting there, and some little kids come up and asking him, talk to him, hey, mister, can you crack this nut for us? And so needless to say, he's trying to crack this nut, and but he didn't, and couldn't do it. And anyhow, when the others come out, the kids went off. And anyhow, when they get there, and he says, where's my stuff? They were behind his back, they were pinching all the stuff. They were little thieves. That was how they lived. And he said, I didn't see anyone taking anything. I talked to the kids and they were trying to get me to crack. He said, you're not to crack those nuts. He said, yeah. He said, they stole it all. He He said, I was very careful after that. Well, when Ernie came back from Vietnam, we got a posting to Western Australia, and then when we were only there for a 12 months posting, he was, as I said, he was in the office, and it was helping sort things out there. And then we got posted back to Watsonia. I got a job working for Woolworths then, and he was still in the army. So, he come home one day. He said, "How do you feel like posting to New Jersey?" I said, "Where's New Jersey?" And he said, "New Jersey. Don't know New Jersey in Australia. I've never heard of it." He said, "No, in America." And I said, "Of course, I'll go there. No worries, let's go." And I was real rapt, but we weren't allowed to say anything properly at first to it. It was all official. And he went back and said, "Yeah, my wife's all for it." And we were rapt, the whole three of us, and the kids were excited because they were going to go and see Disney. And we flew out the day after my daughter turned 10. And we ran first class in the jumbo, the Captain Qantas jumbo, beautiful plane. And you could go upstairs to the lounge and everything else. And we had got off at San Francisco, and that was the first time we really seen the American money. We didn't, everything, all the notes the same colour, and we didn't realise. And we got a taxi from the airport to the hotel, and my husband said, "Which note?" And he said, "Oh, that one." Anyhow, I went, "Okay," and so we paid him. And when the next day he said, "I'm missing money." And we'd got ripped off. He'd given him a bit bigger note than he didn't realise. But then when they said to us, "Oh, Dad, you set the room up," and they put a cot for my younger son because he was one. And anyhow, it was really cramped. And anyhow, the embassy got in touch with us, asked for it. And when they found out, they blasted them at gas because we got a bigger room, 2 rooms connected. And we went down to a meal, and the kids were so tired they fell asleep with their head in the food. They were hungry. "I've got to go and eat," and like that, straight down. And that was really good. We went around and got on the tram, seen everything we could in San Francisco. We enjoyed it. We seen the hippies, the flower people then. I don't think they're around anymore. Then after that, we got because it was only just an in-between stay, and then we went up to Washington, D.C., and we stayed up there in a beautiful big hotel there, and Ernie got the interviews in the embassy and fixed up. And he had got a house in Virginia, and we went and lived there, and it was beautiful. We loved it. And that was also not us. And there was service people, there was civilians, but there was everything. There was Air Force, Army, Australians and Americans, and across the road there was a couple that were diplomats, and it was all the children again, and we loved it there, and we were there for the snow, and it was beautiful. Oh, I forgot to tell you, when we lived in New Jersey, that's where our first posting was. When it's first snow, the first Christmas it snowed, hardly anything on the ground, so we said, "All right, let's get in the car. We're going up. We'll drive up the highway. It's not that far. We'll get there. We'll go up as far as we can to the snow." And we were going along, and a car comes flying up past, and the boys go, "Dad, look!" And there was a girl standing up at the top, no top on, and she got boobs. And he said, yeah, all right, get back in, get in. And they said, "But she's got boobs, Dad." And because you imagine what that is they're only, I forget how old would have been, but age or something like that. And so we thought, "Oh, gee, we're going to get lost." The snow was getting thick, and we thought, "Oh, we'll follow this truck." And that was having more trouble. And anyhow, he was following, and ended up the car with the girl in, the truck driver decided to follow her. Anyhow, we end up pulling into a rest stop from behind a plough truck, and then we thought, well, we're sending our snow, we're going back. And when we got back, it had been snowing in New Jersey. We built a tiny little snowman, but we loved it. Well, Ernie passed in 2014 from cancer. DVA was very good to us. They were very good. And then a couple of years later, a gentleman from Legacy got in touch who was associate that come out and see you, and asked me was I anything I needed. And he said, I believe your husband had passed away. And I said, yes, told him. And he said, can you give me some details? Because they had to check that you were a real Legacy, because some people thought they were when the husbands hadn't served. And then Legacy got in touch and said, yes, I was. And I was invited to the monthly meetings. And at that time, they used to meet in the RSL in Townsville. And then used to go to those monthly. And then later on, the ladies said to me, why don't I go to the War Widows? They're a very good group. And they were meeting at the RSL too. And I did. I used to go to them because I knew a few of the ladies. But times changed and they drifted away. And I have a very good friend that I go and visit in Brisbane. Her husband was in the army with my husband, and they died within a month and a half of each other. And used to go there a lot. She used to come here too. Then she seen my dog was too big, and then we used to go. I used to go down to see her, and then we started. And we had gone on cruises for the two with the husbands, and then we started going on more cruises, just her and I. And then now we go on cruises, and her family goes too. But that's mainly where I spend all my time. If I'm not going down to visit family, or them visiting me, I just work in my house and around my yard, find plenty of things to do. Legacy has been very good to me because a couple of years back now, the Army used to do volunteer, send people out to help through Legacy, and they'd come out and clean out, because I have a very big yard and a lot of bush, and they cut it all back and really did a lot of work. And I mean, they brought out one of those massive big trucks and took away all their trees, bits and pieces that had fallen down over the years. And then didn't hear anything for a while. And I'd just go to Legacy now and again. And they're very good. And they give us $50 for Christmas and $50 for our birthday, but they do it combined now, in the $100, which is very nice. Never say no. And then they had a thing if you wanted any help cleaning up your yard after cyclone, and then other things, and they'd let you know. It was in the magazine, because you get a magazine, and I rang them up and asked, could I get help? And I had these volunteers come out. They've been out twice, different times, and they do a lot of work. And they're all ex-service people, and they're all volunteers. They all do it. They just seem to enjoy it. They all know each other. I think they even volunteered when the floods were down in Queensland and went down there and helped and all that. But Legacy has been very good that way to me. When I was in hospital, I notified Legacy or War Widows. But when my husband was in hospital, they used to, TPI used to send someone to help him and talk to him if he needed help. I think it's just the way I am. But my son can come and visit me all the time, because he lives up at the top of the hill, up Kelso, up near the dam. And he was ex-serviceman too. And when I got crook, my daughter came up and stayed with me when I came out of hospital after I had the knee operation. But Legacy's very busy with a lot of ladies and that do need more help than I do. I'm quite good, all right. I do my own work, do my own housework. The only thing, the lawn got too much, so I do pay a gentleman to do the lawn. He's very good. The Legacy has helped a lot of people, and I do know that. And I know they do a lot for the children. They have Christmas things and parties, and they're very good for the people. And I recommend, if anyone needed help with them, to get in touch with them.